It's your chance to be ruthless.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be...
Welcome back, everyone, to The Deep Dive. This time, we're taking a deep dive into the career of beauty influencer Laura Lee.
Oh, interesting choice.
Yeah, I think it's especially interesting for anyone who, is interested in online fame and how to build a personal brand.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is the age of the influencer, isn't it?
Right. Or even just for those who are, trying to navigate the crazy world of social media.
Totally. And her story, I mean, she's kind of seen it all, right? From medical assistant to makeup mogul.
Exactly. It's like she was born in '88, and she started her YouTube journey back in 2013.
Wow.
So think about that for a second. This wasn't some overnight viral thing,
Oh, for sure.
She really built her empire brick by brick.
Yeah.
And it's even more interesting because she started in a field that is, completely different from what she's known for now.
That's so true. It's like it makes her early success even more impressive, you know? What was it about her that really made her stand out in such a crowded space?
Well, I think it was, obviously she's got undeniable makeup skills, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it was more than that.
Yeah.
It was the way she presented them.
Right.
She went beyond just the basic tutorials.
Mm-hmm.
She was dropping these beauty hacks.
Yes.
Giving really insightful product reviews, all while being super relatable and funny.
Yeah, that Southern charm, I feel like that definitely played a role, but you can't underestimate the technical aspects either.
Right.
Her videos were really well produced, and our reviews were they were more than just this is good or this is bad.
Exactly.
She got into the nitty-gritty of it, explaining why a product worked or didn't work for specific skin types.
Right.
And that kind of depth really builds trust, and I think in the beauty world, trust is huge.
Absolutely. And that trust really translated into serious brand power for her.
Oh, yeah.
She landed collaborations with huge players like Too Faced, Benefit.
Wow, yeah.
And then, of course, came the launch of her own line, Laura Lee Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And we're talking consistent sellout palettes here. This is huge.
It's worth noting that her palette launches were really strategic. It wasn't just slapping her name on any old product.
Right.
These were well thought out color stories, often tied to themes that her audience loved.
Yep.
Plus, the formula was consistently praised. It wasn't just hype. The products actually delivered.
So clearly she was doing something right.
Yeah.
But this success, it wouldn't go unchallenged.
Uh-oh.
In 2018, some offensive tweets from her past resurfaced.
Oh, wow.
And the backlash was, it was swift, it was intense.
Yeah, this is where things get really interesting, right? Because this wasn't just a minor slip up.
Yeah.
The content of these tweets was, it was deeply problematic.
Right.
She lost brand deals.
Yeah.
She saw a massive drop in subscribers. And she faced, some really harsh public criticism.
And then there was the apology video.
Ooh, yeah.
Which, let's just say, did not exactly go as planned.
It became kind of a meme, unfortunately. I think the timing played a role in that. There was this growing demand for accountability from influencers.
Mm-hmm.
And her apology, while attempting to address the issue, it lacked a certain genuineness.
Yeah, it felt scripted, almost like she was reading from a PR statement.
Exactly.
And people online, they can sniff that out a mile away.
Oh, totally.
They crave authenticity.
Right.
Especially when someone has messed up. You know what I mean?
100%. It raises a really interesting question though, right? Could any apology have truly satisfied the internet in that situation?
Right.
Or was she destined to face consequences regardless?
That's a great point. Now, a lot of influencers in that situation might have crumbled under that kind of pressure, but Laura Lee, instead of fading away, she chose to make a strategic comeback.
Wow. And
Yeah.
that's what makes her story so compelling, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't just about hoping that things would like blow over.
Right.
She took concrete steps to rebuild her brand and I think more importantly to rebuild herself.
Okay, so let's talk about that comeback. Like, did she just go back to business as usual, more beauty tutorials?
Not quite. She diversified her content.
Oh,
So she branched out into fashion and lifestyle while still kind of maintaining her core beauty audience.
Hold on. That can be risky though, right?
Right.
Like diversification. Didn't she worry about like alienating her existing fan base?
Sure.
How did she make that transition work?
I think her approach was really clever, actually.
Okay.
She didn't like completely abandon beauty, right?
Yeah.
Instead, she integrated fashion and lifestyle content that like complemented her existing expertise. So for example, she started showcasing makeup looks inspired by like specific fashion trends or creating tutorials on how to achieve like a certain aesthetic for different events.
Interesting.
It was all about like connecting the dots.
So basically she showed her audience that she was multifaceted,
Exactly.
but without straying too far from, what they already loved.
Yeah,
That's smart. And it seems like it paid off.
it did.
Did that help her regain like the trust after the controversy?
I think it was definitely a factor.
Okay.
But I think the key to her comeback was her unwavering commitment to her own brand,
Mm-hmm.
Laura Lee Los Angeles.
Okay.
She continued to develop new products, and her fans responded really positively to that.
Yeah.
It showed them that she wasn't like giving up on her passion, and more importantly, that she wasn't giving up on them.
So she basically doubled down on what she was good at, proving that she wasn't just going to disappear.
Right.
But she didn't stop there, right?
No.
There's the whole nudie patootie thing too.
Exactly. So riding that wave of momentum, she launched her second brand, Nudie Patootie, which focuses on fashion. And this wasn't just like some random side project.
Right.
This was a carefully calculated move that showed that she understood the evolving influencer landscape.
Right.
She wasn't just reacting, she was actively shaping her own future.
So she took the reins and really demonstrated her entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
It's clear that she's got a real knack for business.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about like the personal side of all of this. You
Yeah.
know? The emotional toll of such a public fall from grace.
Oh, for sure.
Like that's an aspect that I think we often overlook when we're discussing influencers.
Totally.
They are real people.
Yes.
With real feelings, and the internet can be brutal.
Oh, it can be so brutal.
It's easy to forget that when we're consuming their content.
Yeah.
We see the perfectly curated feeds, the glamorous videos, but like, what about the person behind all that?
Yeah.
What happens when the online world turns against you?
Yeah, it can be incredibly isolating,
Yeah.
Imagine like having your worst mistake broadcast to millions of people.
Right.
Followed by like relentless scrutiny and judgment.
Yeah.
That takes a toll.
It makes you wonder how anyone survives in that environment.
I know.
Go from building an empire to facing like such intense backlash, and then to have the resilience to rebuild.
Yeah.
It's remarkable.
It really is. And it speaks to like a strength of character that I think is often underestimated in the world of, online fame. Laura Lee's story it's a reminder that behind the curated facade, there's a human being navigating a really complex and unforgiving landscape.
Yeah. So we've talked about her rise to fame, the controversy that shook her empire, and then her impressive comeback. But I think there's another layer to this story, something that I think often gets overlooked when we talk about influencers.
Oh, I'm intrigued. What are you thinking?
Well, we focused a lot on like the business side of things,
Yeah.
the brand deals, the product launches, the subscriber counts. But I'm wondering about the personal toll of all of this.
Right. That's such an important point. Behind the perfectly curated Instagram feeds, the glamorous YouTube videos,
Yeah,
there's a human being.
exactly.
And that human being is subject to the same emotions, pressures, and vulnerabilities as anyone else.
Exactly. We often forget that influencers are real people
Yes.
with real lives and real feelings.
Totally.
And when you build your entire career around your online persona, the lines between the public and the private can get like really blurred.
Oh, absolutely. And that can be incredibly challenging, especially when you're dealing with something as public and as emotionally charged as a major controversy, right?
Right.
It's not just about losing followers or sponsors.
Yeah.
It's about dealing with like the intense scrutiny, the negative comments, the feeling of being judged and condemned by like thousands, even millions of people.
That's going to be incredibly isolating and emotionally draining.
It is.
Imagine having your worst mistakes broadcast to the world.
Yeah.
And then having like strangers dissect your every move, your every word, your every expression.
It's a level of exposure that I think most people just can't even comprehend.
Yeah.
And it's something we need to be more mindful of when we engage with, influencer culture.
Right.
It's easy to get caught up in the drama, the gossip, the schadenfreude.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that there's a real person on the other side of the screen.
A person who is trying to navigate a very complex and often very unforgiving landscape.
For sure.
It's a high wire
Yeah.
act. And even the most skilled performers can slip up.
And when they do, the consequences can be devastating.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Laura Lee, I think it's important to leave our listeners with a sense of empathy. Not just for her, but for all the creators who are trying to build careers in this ever-evolving digital space.
It's a reminder that behind the curated facade, there's a human being navigating, a really complex and unforgiving landscape.
It's a reminder that forgiveness is possible even in like the digital age.
Right.
But it takes work. Mm-hmm. It takes accountability, a willingness to change,
Yeah.
and a genuine desire to like connect with your audience on a deeper level.
I think it also, highlights the power of entrepreneurship, right?
Right.
Laura Lee, she didn't just rely on like sponsorships or brand deals to rebuild her career.
Right.
She focused on her own brands. Laura Lee Los Angeles and Nudie Patootie, which gave her, more control over her narrative and her future.
So she basically took her destiny into her own hands.
Yeah.
She didn't wait for someone else to like give her permission to come back.
Right.
She created her own opportunities.
Yeah.
And proved that she was more than just a one-hit wonder.
And that's such a valuable lesson for anyone, influencer or not, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the best way to bounce back from adversity is to like focus on what you can control, to build something of your own and to be like relentless in pursuing your goals.
Her story is like a testament to the entrepreneurial spirit, right?
It is.
She faced this major setback,
Yeah.
but instead of, giving up, she doubled down on her passion, her creativity, and her business acumen.
Yeah.
And that's why even after all the ups and downs, she's still here.
It's also a reminder that the internet, while often a place of like harsh judgment and instant consequences, it can also be a space for redemption and second chances.
Absolutely, but it's not just about getting a second chance.
Sure.
It's about what you do with it.
Yeah.
And in Laura Lee's case, she used it to build something like even stronger, more resilient than before. So what do you think? For someone listening to this, like what are the key takeaways from Laura Lee's journey?
Sure.
What can they apply to their own lives, even if they're not in the world of beauty or social media?
I think there are several valuable lessons here, right?
Yeah.
First, the importance of personal accountability. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
But it's how we own up to them and learn from them that defines our character.
Okay.
Second, the power of resilience.
Right.
Life throws curveballs,
It does.
but it's our ability to adapt, overcome, and keep moving forward that determines our success.
And third, I'd say the importance of authenticity.
Oh, for sure.
Whether you're building a personal brand or just navigating life in general, people respond to genuineness. They want to connect with real people, flaws and all.
I couldn't agree more. And finally, I think Laura Lee's story, it underscores the fact that the digital world is constantly evolving. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
What works today might not work tomorrow.
Right.
So it's essential to be adaptable, open to new ideas, and willing to take, calculated risks.
It's about staying ahead of the curve, right?
Yeah.
Being innovative, creative, and constantly learning.
Right.
It's not enough to just have a following.
No.
You have to cultivate a community,
Yeah.
engage with your audience, and provide value beyond just entertainment.
Absolutely. And that's something that Laura Lee has demonstrably, learned to do.
Yeah.
She's transformed from a makeup tutorialist into a multifaceted brand builder and entrepreneur.
Right.
It's quite remarkable, actually, when you consider the scope of her journey.
It really is. So we've talked about her rise to fame, the controversy that shook her empire, and her impressive comeback.
Yeah.
But there's something else about her story that I find particularly fascinating.
Oh, I am all ears.
It's the evolution of her content.
Remember, like, she started with very straightforward makeup tutorials. As she grew, she incorporated those beauty hacks,
Right.
and in-depth product reviews that we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
But then during her comeback, she seamlessly integrated fashion and lifestyle elements.
Right.
And that's not just diversification.
Yeah.
It's a sign of like creative growth.
You're right. It shows an understanding of how to keep an audience engaged,
Yeah.
how to offer them something new without alienating them. Many influencers struggle with that balance.
And think about the technical skills required. Like early makeup tutorials, they can be fairly simple to film and edit.
Right.
But as she incorporated fashion, lifestyle, even like home decor elements, the production value must have increased significantly.
Yeah.
So did she have like a team behind her?
Yeah.
Or was she managing all of this herself?
It's likely a combination of both, Successful influencers, they often build teams as they grow, but that doesn't mean that they're not hands-on.
Right.
Laura Lee has always struck me as someone who's deeply involved in every aspect of her brand. And that level of control is probably key to her success.
So not only is she like a savvy businesswoman, but she's also like a creative force.
Yeah.
Who's constantly adapting and pushing boundaries.
Yes.
And that's a powerful combination in any field.
For sure.
But especially in the ever-changing world of online content creation.
And it also speaks to her resilience, right?
Yeah.
Remember, this is someone who faced like immense backlash.
Right.
Who had to rebuild her reputation from scratch.
Yeah.
To not just come back, but to come back stronger with even more creative and sophisticated content.
Yeah.
That's a testament to her determination and her passion.
And for someone listening to this, maybe they're not an influencer, maybe they're not even in a creative field.
Right.
What can they take away from that?
It's about the importance of continuous learning and growth, right?
Okay.
No matter what you do, the world is constantly changing.
Right.
You have to be willing to adapt, to acquire new skills, to push yourself beyond your comfort zone. That's how you stay relevant, how you achieve long-term success.
And it's not just about keeping up with trends.
Right.
It's about pushing yourself creatively. Finding new ways to express your ideas and connecting with your audience on a deeper level.
Absolutely.
Laura Lee could have easily just stuck with what she knew, what was safe.
Yeah.
But she chose to evolve. And that evolution is a huge part of what makes her story so inspiring.
It's a reminder that success isn't a destination.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
And that journey is often marked by challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt.
Right.
But it's how we navigate those moments, how we learn and grow from them, that defines who we are.
And that brings us to something that I think is often overlooked in these conversations about influencers.
Yeah.
The impact of online fame on mental health.
Ah, yes. The dark side of the digital spotlight. It's something we need to talk about more openly.
We often see influencers as living these perfect lives,
right,
with their glamorous photos and their adoring fans.
Yeah.
But we rarely discuss the pressure that comes with that level of visibility. The constant scrutiny, the fear of making a mistake, the feeling of never being able to switch off.
It's a 247 job, really.
Yeah.
And the emotional toll can be significant,
Right.
Imagine having every aspect of your life like dissected and judged by millions of people.
Yeah.
It's no wonder so many influencers struggle with anxiety, depression, and burnout.
And the irony is that they're often expected to present this perfect happy image to the world.
Right.
Even when they're struggling behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for disaster.
It is. And it highlights the need for more support systems for influencers, for more open conversations about mental health within the industry, and for a greater understanding from the public that these are real people.
Yeah.
With real emotions, not just characters on a screen.
We've talked a lot about Laura Lee's resilience.
Yeah.
You know, her ability to bounce back from adversity.
Right.
But I think it's important to acknowledge that resilience isn't about, you know, never feeling the pressure, never experiencing the pain.
Yeah.
It's about having the strength to keep going, to seek help when needed, and to find ways to cope with the unique challenges of life in the digital spotlight.
Exactly. And it's about having a strong support system,
Yeah.
both online and offline. People you can trust, people who understand the pressures that you're facing, people who can offer a listening ear and a helping hand when you need it most.
It's a reminder that we all need connection. We all need support.
Yes.
Regardless of how successful or how famous we might be.
Right.
Fame doesn't make you immune to the human experience.
It doesn't. And in some ways, it can make it even harder to navigate the complexities of life, relationships, and mental well-being.
So as we delve deeper into Laura Lee's story, it's crucial to keep this human element in mind.
Yeah.
To see her not just as an influencer, but as a person who's navigating the same ups and downs, the same joys and sorrows as the rest of us.
It's a perspective that can inform, you know, not just how we view influencers, but how we approach our own lives online, how we treat each other, how we engage in dialogue, how we build communities that are supportive and compassionate rather than judgmental and divisive.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
And it's one that's especially relevant in today's world where online interactions can often feel, you know, more transactional than genuine.
It's a call for more empathy, more understanding, and more human connection in the digital space.
And that's something we can all strive for.
Absolutely.
Like whether we're influencers, entrepreneurs, or simply individuals trying to make sense of this increasingly complex digital world.
Indeed. And as we continue to explore Laura Lee's story, I think it's important to keep this broader context in mind.
It is.
Yeah. It's fascinating how her story kind of touches on so many different aspects of our digital lives.
Right.
We've got like the business side, the creative evolution, the mental health challenges, and of course the whole ethical dimension of online fame.
Oh, yeah. It's like a lot to unpack.
Yeah, and each of those aspects could be like a deep dive on its own.
Right.
But I think what makes this particular deep dive so compelling is how they all intertwine in Laura Lee's journey. You know, it's a reminder that these aren't separate issues.
Right.
They're all interconnected.
It's like a case study in what it means to be a successful influencer in today's world, right?
Totally.
You can't just be like good at makeup or have a knack for branding.
Right.
You need to be like adaptable, resilient, and constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And you need to be aware of the impact that your actions have, you know, both online and offline.
It's a high stakes game, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And the rules are constantly changing.
Right.
But I think Laura Lee's story offers some valuable insights for anyone navigating the digital landscape, whether they're an influencer, an entrepreneur, or just someone trying to make sense of this crazy online world we live in.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's try to distill some key takeaways for our listener.
Okay.
What are the like big picture lessons here?
Yeah.
What can they apply to their own lives?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's about the importance of authenticity.
Yeah.
You know, in a world where everything is curated and filtered, people crave realness. They want to connect with people who are genuine, who aren't afraid to show their flaws, who own their mistakes and learn from them.
Right.
Laura Lee's journey, with all its ups and downs, is a testament to that.
And it's not just about being like real for the sake of it, right?
No,
It's about being true to yourself, to your values, to your vision.
Yeah.
That's what allows you to build a brand that resonates with people, a brand that people trust.
Absolutely. And that trust is essential, you know, whether you're building an online following, a business, or even just, you know, personal relationships. people can sense when someone is being inauthentic, when they're trying too hard to project an image that's not true to who they are.
Yeah.
And that lack of authenticity can be a major turnoff.
So be yourself, be real, be genuine.
Yeah.
Got it. What else?
Second, I think it's about the importance of resilience.
Okay.
We all face challenges, setbacks, and failures in life. It's inevitable.
It is.
But it's how we respond to those challenges that defines us.
Right.
Laura Lee, she could have easily given up after the controversy, but she didn't. She chose to learn from her mistakes, to rebuild her brand, to come back stronger than ever. And that kind of resilience is inspiring, and it's a quality that we can all cultivate.
It's about having that grit, that determination to keep going even when things get tough.
Yeah.
And it's about having the humility to acknowledge your mistakes, to learn from them and to use them as fuel for growth.
Exactly. It's not about being perfect. It's about being able to bounce back from imperfection.
Right.
And that's a skill that's valuable in any aspect of life, not just online.
Okay, so we've got authenticity and resilience. Any other big lessons jumping out at you?
Well, I think Laura Lee's story also, highlights the importance of continuous learning and adaptation. That the digital world is constantly evolving.
Right.
What worked yesterday might not work today.
Right.
And what works today might be obsolete tomorrow.
Yeah.
To stay ahead of the curve, you need to be a lifelong learner. You need to be willing to experiment, to try new things, to embrace change.
It's like she went from basic tutorials to in-depth reviews to incorporating fashion and lifestyle, all while building 2 successful brands.
Yeah.
She wasn't just keeping up. She was like setting the pace.
Exactly. And that requires a certain level of self-awareness.
Right.
A willingness to step outside your comfort zone and a constant hunger for knowledge and growth.
So be authentic, be resilient, be a learner. Sounds like a solid recipe for success,
It is.
both online and offline.
And I think it's a message that resonates with Laura Lee's story, right?
Yeah.
She's someone who's constantly evolving, constantly pushing herself, constantly learning and growing. And that's what makes her journey so inspiring, so relatable, and ultimately so human.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explore the multifaceted world of Laura Lee.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Her story is a reminder that the digital landscape is complex, ever-changing, and full of opportunities for both success and failure.
Right.
But it's also a reminder that behind the screens, behind the brands, behind the followers, there are real people with real stories, real struggles, and real hopes for the future.
So true.
So as you navigate your own digital journey, remember to be authentic, be resilient, be a learner, and above all, be kind to yourself and to others.
Well said. And who knows, maybe someday we'll be doing a deep dive into your story.
Now that's a thought. Until next time, happy diving, everyone.
If you loved this deep dive, make sure to hit like and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories of your favorite influencers. Drop a comment below who should we cover next. Stay curious, and see you next time.
Guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best.